All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo. We getting ready to get into this whole breakdown of Tyler Perry's Zatima, Season 2, Episode number 9, titled The Dinner Diagnosis. But before we get into this synopsis, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Let's go ahead and get into this synopsis breakdown. So it states, Fatima hosts a surprise intervention for Zach where some ugly truths about their relationship are revealed. And Bryce tells Angela he has a fetish for plus-sized women, among other things. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this breakdown. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Zach is outside of his house. He's chilling outside, and a car pulls up in front of the house. So it happens to be Dr. Reese, who has been invited to this dinner, and he's supposed to, pretty much, diagnose the fellas. I already know that this thing is not going to go down properly, but of course, let's go ahead and get into it. So they go inside of the house, and this is the thing. Everyone's trying to act as though, well, not everyone, just specifically Fatima. She's trying to act like she's never met Dr. Reese. But Zach, like I stated previously in a recap, that he's too smart to fall for this crap. Like, he was going to be able to see through this because he's a hustler. Like, people that got hustle game down pat, we just see through crap like this. So, Dr. Reed comes in, everyone starts to introduce themselves to him, and even Fatima. And in a strange way, it is obvious because Zach is now looking around like, what the hell is going on? Like, nobody knows this Negro, and he's been invited to this party, this sit-down dinner, and everybody's introducing themselves to him. So how in the hell did he get invited? Like, who knows? So Zach is a hustler, man. Zach already knew it's going to start to see through this crap. So anyway, they sit down and they start dinner. So, of course, Bryce is ready to go. He said, forget y'all. He ain't waiting on no women to sit down, no nothing. He said, it is what it is. Every man or woman for himself or herself. And he was gone. So Zach is like, look, I ain't got time for this. You can tell by his body language. He's already over this whole situation, but Fatima begged him to pretty much, hey, just sit down for me. We'll get past this. So pretty much he goes and he agrees, obviously, to sit down. And while they're sitting down eating dinner, everybody's chuckling. And Dr. Reed obviously is going around the table just asking questions. And Fatima is just playing it off like it's just normal convo, right? But Zach, he's hip to it because he's sitting here like, okay, Negro, you asking a whole bunch of damn questions, but I'm just seeing how you're moving. Like, so it's an uncomfortable situation. She can already tell that Zach is not feeling this, and she already knows that Zach is probably going to start to figure this out. So she tries to keep it going as long as possible. But Zach is like, hold on. What the hell is going on? Like, for real. Like, y'all need to come straight forward because I already know something ain't right about this. So the cat is out the bag. Dr. Reed is like, okay, I was invited here to work with, no, not Dr. Reed. Fatima pretty much told him he works with guys. He's a therapist and he works with men. He assists them with whatever they're dealing with. And he was like, okay, so you set me up. And she was like, no. He was like, no, this is exactly what you did. I mean, he's here. You're talking about this. It's a sit-down dinner. And now you're going to talk me into sitting down with a therapist when you didn't give me the opportunity pretty much to say that I wanted to do that. So, and I do agree. You got to allow people to get to that point where they feel like they need the help and they earnestly want to go get the help. But to set me up in a way, that's not the way to do it, Fatima. And Fatima was wrong in that state. I know you want to help your man, but let's be for real, babe. You got to do a better job. So let's just be honest, Fatima. You have to do a better job in convincing or encouraging, rather, let me use that term, encouraging your spouse or your significant other to do those things to better themselves. But it's not, it's only when that person is ready for that they can actually take advantage of the advice that's going to be given to them. So at this point, Zach is already up to level 10 at this point. He's not really going to be welcoming in any information that Dr. Reed conveys to him. And let's just hit the facts, because he's already got a wall pulled up, and you can tell by his responses when he's talking to Dr. Reed. So let's start with Angela. So Angela is like, okay, let's go ahead and get this shit off the table. Like, I just want to know, Bryce, are you or are you not? Are you gay or are you not? Because as far as I know, you were over here trying to kiss Zach. So Zach, initially in the last episode, he wanted to know if Angela knew that Bryce had tried to stick his tongue down his throat. But the whole situation is this. Bryce I don't even know how to phrase this. So, Bryce is into everything. He pretty much tells, initially you could tell he was a little uncomfortable with it. But he said, okay, we're just going to put it on out there. Let's put it on out there. And Bryce is like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I like both men and women. I like everything. And I actually like to swing. Now, I've never been to a swing party, but I've known some people to go to a swing party, and that probably ain't my thing party. But for each his own, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't get down like that. But that's the thing nowadays. People, like to try new things, adventurous things. So it is what it is. So pretty much Bryce conveys to Angela that he likes, sometimes he likes men, sometimes he likes women, or both. It is what it is. He's just into it, experimenting. And then she was like, okay, but why do you need to keep doing this? Am I not enough for you? He said, you are enough for me. And he pretty much tells her that she is a fetish for him. Like, he loves plus-sized women. And she was like, oh, what the hell? Like, what? Now I'm a fetish to you? And he was like, no, not like that. Like, I need you. And she was like, no. Like, I don't need... I'm not trying to get in trouble, man. But there are some people out there that got fetishes like that. Like, one of the guys that I worked with a long time ago, he used to have this foot fetish, and he used to tell us all the time about these different things he would do with females' feet. And I was like, what? Like, dude, I do not need to be privy to that information. Like, please keep that to yourself, bruh. I'm not ready. It is do what you like, do what you love. So let's go to the other side of the table where we have Zach and Fatima. So Zach is pretty much stating to Fatima, like, okay, he's questioning because you're trying to make this like I'm the only problem in this relationship. And Fatima is sitting there like her shit don't stink. But let's be honest, everybody comes with something to the table. So Zach at this point, yeah, he's feeling some type of way. First of all, you've set me up with this guy. I don't know him from Adam, and now you're trying to get me to talk to him about my personal situations. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you're trying to act like you ain't got no problems coming to this relationship. And thirdly, I really don't want to be here, but since you want to do it, let's go ahead and get into it. So for Zach, he's wanting to be the man, but Fatima is not allowing him to do that. Also, it's hard for him to really deal with these issues because Fatima doesn't really seem like she really wants to open up. Like, she's giving him some information, but not everything. But she expects it all from Zach. And Zach is like, I need you to do the same for me. So there's a lot of miscommunications going on here between Zach and Fatima. Now, the doctor pretty much gives his diagnosis. He pretty much tells them that, number one, first and foremost, you guys are talking to one another, but you guys are not listening. Dr. Reed's response was pretty much to Zach specifically, that Zach, you're having a lot of these issues and things of that nature because you do not know who your father is. And when a young man, a male, does not have a relationship with his father or a father figure, that you attach yourself to other males. So the issue that he was having with Bryce thought that he was, coming on to him, in a way that was sexual. But that was his perception. What he was giving to Bryce was just love, brotherly love, in a way that he thought it was given to, a guy that he's cool with. Because, as Dr. Reed has stated, and hopefully I'm saying this right, it's just been taught by, it's things that, if you don't get it from a father, then you still, if you don't get it from a father, you're still going to get it in some type of way from, an uncle or a loved one or random kids or cousins or siblings, on and on and on. So that was his stance on it. But he said, there's a bond and there's a connection. And, when Bryce helped him out, the gratitude that Zach was showing to Bryce was perceived in a different type of way for him. And so what Dr. Reed was trying to convey to him is that you guys can see the same situation and look at it totally different. So yeah, I got the gist of what the doctor was trying to convey to both Zach and Bryce. But at the end of the day, Zach was like, no, what I told that man, it was not supposed to be perceived in what he was thinking. Like, I was quite clear. He said, no, I'm not going down like that. So anyhow, man, Zach is like, look, I'm over this. Angela's over this. She's ready to go. And then pretty much Dr. Reed was like, okay. And another thing, this ain't going to be settled until you guys are ready to get out of that childlike mindset. Now, that was the one thing that I agree with Dr. Reed on all of this shit right here. When you guys are ready to get out of that childlike shit, then we can work this out. We can talk. And then that nigga got up and left. Like, I was like, what the hell? What type of doctor is this? Like, we're not going to have no closure. We're not going to have no conclusion in none of this. We're just going to get up and leave. That's what we're going to do, right? So I said, all right. So anyway, going from here, you can see the body language on Angela. She's done. Like, she's depleted at this point. Like, I can't believe that I wasted my time with Bryce and I never knew this about him. That's the reason why you got to get to know people before you just jump in bed with people. I know some people don't agree with me on that because I'm not that type of dude to just get down to get down. I need to know who I'm getting down with. And, for a lot of people, it's no longer like that. So we just jump into these relationships and we really don't know shit about people. And then before you know it, you sit up here with a whole stranger. And now you feel like you feel it. Look at Angela's face. Like, she's gone. And then you start looking across the table. Everybody has, this body language like, I'm out of it. So the next thing we see is with Zach. He gets a telephone call from the fellas. And see, this is what the doctor was talking about. When you do not have a father figure, you start looking at others, to fill that void. So Zach has obviously filled that void with his boys, which, it could be a great thing when you have the right people in place. And I believe that I received a comment previously from somebody that on my previous video talking about he needs new friends. And to a certain extent, what I was saying was with his friends, I believe that their hearts are in the right place, but at the same time, their minds are not where they need to be. Because as a friend, you have to tell people the good and the bad about every situation. You can love somebody and still misdirect them because your mind isn't where it needs to be. And I think with his friends, Tony and Nate, that their hearts are right, but they're giving him the wrong information or they're perceiving what's not there. So in this case, they're telling this man who is living with his fiance to come on out late at night. First and foremost, Nate and Tony, this guy has a whole live-in fiance. He's just not free to just roam as he pleases because you guys call this nigga outside. That's not what it's got to be. And you guys need to understand that as his friends, you're making this whole situation a lot harder for him than it needs to be. And now Fatima's over there in the kitchen cleaning everything down hard and shit. She's wiping down the countertops, and then she's getting ready to pick up the trash. Like, she ain't saying nothing, but you could tell with her whole body language, she ready to go in. But she ain't gonna say shit. She gonna leave it alone. But Zach is still over there on the phone talking to his friends. Now, fellas, that this woman is listening to the whole damn conversation. She ain't saying nothing, but she listening to the conversation. And you can already hear from her body language. This is what she said. That nigga over there sitting down talking. We ain't had no words while that doctor was here. Now the doctor is gone, and now that nigga ain't saying nothing. You could tell what her body language is saying. And then he got this shit all over here, dirty and shit. And you could tell once he got off the phone call, she was like, he was like, hey, I got that. She was like, now you know this shit was supposed to be done. Why I got to say something about it? You ain't saying nothing to me. Like, dude, save yourself some time with these arguments, bruh. You don't even have to get into this. So Fatima is feeling some type of way. She was like, look, we ain't got time for this. So Zach is like, no, I could take the trash out. But she goes ahead and takes the trash out anyhow. But when she goes outside, she goes ahead and gets on the phone. So she gets on the phone with Angela, but Angela pretty much conveys to her that she's still talking to Bryce, but he's getting ready to leave. So Fatima walks off, and I guess she gets off the phone. So the next thing we see is both Angela and Bryce. So they're sitting down, I'm assuming, in her living room, and they're just having a one-on-one conversation. And he's pretty much like, where are we going from here? And she was like, nigga, I'm done. Like, you done told me too much shit. Like, I don't want nobody that's doing everything in between. And then she jokes about the shit. Now, women, listen. If you cool with it, you cool with it. So don't play with this guy. He already has conveyed to you, Angela, that he has, this whole situation where he likes to get down with both men and women. But now you're sitting up here like you're so against what he got going on. But then you play around with it and you say, well, if you bring another dude into the situation, and then you say, but you can't be playing with him, like, I don't get that, Angela. Like, that's very confusing for somebody like myself, and I'm not sure if it's confusing for Bryce as well. Like, are you down with it or are you not? So Angela, as Dr. Reed, said to her, she's covering a lot of things herself, a lot of insecurities herself, from her makeup, from her hair, to everything in between. So she's dealing with some shit as well, just as Bryce is, just as we all are. I was glad to see this whole conversation go down because it was needed. It was needed for closure for both of them, because at the end of the day, he was still trying to act as if everything was going to be okay. He was very apologetic about the situation, but at the same time, she pretty much told him that she was done. She was out of it, because she needs somebody that's just going to want to be with her and be with her solely. And that's what some people need. On the flip side, Bryce is like, I'm down with whatever, but he's telling her that he can be down with just her and her alone. But that's not realistic for Bryce, because Bryce is used to something else. And pretty much she tells him she's done. And, he was like, okay, so we're over. She was like, yeah, nigga, we over. And by the way, nigga, go ahead and give me over my key. And he was like, I thought you were going to ask about it. Hell yeah, nigga. We don't need you coming back off in here if you're not welcome to come back off in here. You might bring somebody else with you. I'm just saying. So from that point, we head back over to, Zach and Fatima's house. Now, Zach is coming downstairs with his shorts and his hoodie on, and Fatima is sitting, still in the kitchen, like she's distraught, like she's just tore up about this whole situation. And now she's looking at him like, I know this Negro ain't coming downstairs and he's getting ready to leave this house when we have unresolved issues. Every black man in the world knows that. Look, and we might as well put that bag down on the steps, bruh, because ain't nobody going nowhere if she ain't happy. Now, sometimes it's good you learn in marriage counseling, hey, if we can't get along and we can't work this out. Let's step aside for a little while. So maybe that's what they're doing. But what I do know, my nigga, you just ain't leaving this house and we ain't got nothing resolved. But anyway, that's what Zach is like. Hey, can I go now? And she was like, yeah, just go. But pretty much she was like, no, we need to talk this out. But she just allows him, not allow, but she just lets him have his way in this situation. But she's not happy about this situation. And of course, she gets back on the phone and then she starts to talk with her, her best friend, once again, Angela, who's sitting over there and she's effed up as well. So Angela can't even believe that the Negro is gone. Like, I can't even believe it either, Angela. Like, I'm like, what in the world is he doing? He's just making the whole situation worse. But anyhow, so this nigga goes ahead. He goes to the basketball court. So we see he and Nate and Tony there at the basketball court. And they're just pretty much, I guess he plays one game with him. And Nate says to him, like, you hurt my feelings and all of this. And Zach is like, what the hell, bro? Like, how in the world did I hurt your feelings in this situation where you were the one that drugged me into all of this? Well, Zach, you did follow. You allowed them to lead you into this shit. It didn't have to go down like that. All you had to do was trust your girl. But obviously, you didn't trust your girl because you had to go see it for yourself. But anyway, you gonna have to tell your guys, like, hey, I'm going to have to make some different decisions because right now what y'all got me going through is causing, an issue within my household with me and my woman. But he ain't said that shit yet because he's still relying on his friends to, back him up. I get it. I've been there before. But at the same time, you have to start making manly decisions that's going to keep you and your household happy. All right, Zach? So moving on from there, he's talking about he's getting ready to go home. So he heads back home, and Fatima's already in the bed. She's reading, I guess, a book or something. And he starts to get in the bed. Nigga ain't taking a shower. He ain't done nothing. He's just getting in the bed. And Fatima's like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, I know you ain't about to get in this bed funky. And he was like, I already know that you ready to do the smell test. Now, Fatima, both of y'all got to start trusting. If you talking about doing a smell test, like, he better not come in here smelling like no soap and water and shit like that. Like you told Angela, because Angela's putting that information in her head as well, that you believe that nigga's going out to play basketball at this time of night. And Fatima feeds into that type of energy, and she says, oh, well, he better not come in here smelling like no soap and water. Like, why would he do that, Fatima? Like, these guys got to stop. Both Fatima and Zach have to stop allowing their friends to infiltrate their minds and give them this whole garbage, man. They are messing up y'all relationship. And I'm new to this whole platform with, reviewing videos. So me trying to convey this information to y'all, it is nerve-wracking for me with this whole situation because I'm like, why in the hell are y'all allowing people to do this to you? And you are the guys suffering. Trust and believe your friends like Nate and Tony, they going home happy and shit. But you, on the other hand, Zach, you going home and you dealing with this woman who's upset at you because you went out to go play basketball instead of trying to resolve your situation. And I ain't even going to get in on the whole Angela situation. But anyway, she was like, no, Zach. No, I ain't even going to do all of that. But you know what you said earlier, Fatima? Stop acting like you weren't overly concerned about this nigga leaving. Anyhow, so the next thing we see is, no, not even the next thing you see, the next thing we hear, because we hear a loud ass, knock on the door like the popo. And I was like, oh shit, somebody coming with the police? Or is this, Deja coming in? Like, what's going on? Are they about to be served? Because the last thing I heard is, I'm going to sue both of y'all asses. So I was like, all right, maybe this is about to go down. So Zach is like, no, hold on, wait a minute, what you doing, Fatima? Fatima's like, I'm getting ready to go down to the door. And he was like, no, hold on. See, that's your problem. You don't allow the man to be the man. Like, the man is supposed to go down and get the door. She was like, what? Like, I'm just gonna go down there. And he was like, no, you still trying to go. You still wrapping up your robe and shit. Like, I'm going down. So she was like, okay, whatever. She still goes down with him. Like, allow him to take control of the situation. If he said, let me take care of it. But of course, she didn't let that go. So they both go downstairs, obviously. So when they go downstairs, he comes to the door. He was like, who is it? He was like, it's your brother, Nick. You know what I'm saying? And so when he comes through, his brother comes in, and his brother brings his mama. He said, take care of your mama. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? So when he says that, his mama comes in and she's all beat up across the head, mouth bleeding, blood on her sweater and all this shit like this. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? And you could tell Zach is overly concerned about his mother. So he's really trying to see what's going on. Now, the backstory of Zach and his mom is the piece that is it's the main puzzle piece in all of this, because even though his mother was not there for him, his daddy wasn't there for him, he still has this connection with his mom that he still doesn't want to see her hurt, even though he's hurting internally due to everything that's going on with his mom and not having that strong bond and relationship with his mom. That's profound. Good writing right there, Tyler. I will give you that, Tyler. But anyway, so his mom is, he's trying to just keep her awake, keep her from going to sleep. So that's pretty much the end of that episode. It is what it is. So of course, as always, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Peace.